Alright, this is a quick training video, operations here, engineering basically for Enterprise D. A little tutorial for you here, but I got the overlay up. Usually you can turn that on and off, but basically you have the operations station here in front of you with the roster on the right. That's this over here, and it shows you who is actively on duty. So you can see there are technicians that are checked, and this is going to be the default configuration when you start the mission. It's always going to have technicians in this configuration. So you're going to have one blue guy in scanners, which you can see he's way over here. Same thing with these. You got one in phasers, one in torpedoes, so that's this guy here, and then this guy here. And obviously the tech is the square here with the little heart and outline of the technician there. You can kind of see he looks like a little stick figure. So you have 5 active crew members on the roster. Here's the other 2. You got the gold techs, these got them right here and then right there. And then the actual station that you can assign them to is going to be, the station with the description on the station. So obviously you got thrusters, torpedoes, transporter, sick bay, phaser control, main engineering, shield generator, astrophysics lab, computer core, and scanners. So each technician is at their start position. If you take them all off the roster, you'll see them all disappear. Basically, when you remove them off the roster, they go away. They, go on break is about the easiest way to kind of explain it there. But when you stick them back on the roster, they'll usually go back to their original positions. As you can see here, they pop right back in where they were. So the only way that you can move a technician, it looks like I got a volatile blowing up here. So the only way you can move a technician is to click on the actual, technician in that specific position. Let me go ahead and tell Helm to stop.
Bring her to full stop.
So if you wanted to move this tech out of scanners, you would not click on the actual position, you would click on the technician. So you can see, once you click on the tech, you can see who you've selected, and then it says select the location to send. So if I wanted to move this technician out of scanners into computer core, you just click on computer core, and then you can see him starting to head over there now. And obviously it takes a while because that's a little bit of a walk there. So let's say I wanted to do the same thing again, but with this technician in phasers. Let's say I wanted to move him over into shields here. So you just click on shields, and then he'll move from phasers into shields. So it takes forever for these guys to move around, but once they start getting to where they need to be going, you can see them moving on the ship. But if you wanted to, let's say, get another tech on the roster here, and you only have 2 red techs and you want 3, you would just come over to the roster, uncheck, one of the techs that you don't need at the moment, because let's say I don't need anybody in computer core, and that guy can just, you know, go on break, so I can put another red guy in. That red tech will go to his original starting position, and then you can put him wherever you want, and you'll have 3 red techs on the ship now instead of just the 2 techs. So let's say I want to put this other tech here who's in phasers. You know, you can move him around, and let's say I want to have 2 techs in shields. And there you go. So he's moving to shields, and you got this other red tech here in torpedoes. Let's say I don't want him in torpedoes, so I would like click on him, and let's say I want to move him into phasers. Since I moved that other guy out of phasers, I can switch somebody back. That way I got 2 techs in shields and 1 in phasers. That's usually what I like to do. That way I got as many technicians that are in shields that I can increase the shield strength and increase the rate of fire and get precision. If you go to tactical, you can see you get precision phasers because you got that tech into the phasers there. And then you can modulate also because you got techs and shields, which is why I like to do that. You get the, you know, you got to switch back to system to see where everybody's at, but, you know, you get your little shield modulation with that, and you get precision with that. But each station has its own, you know, I guess what it says when you do this, it's basically you get to boost the ability of that specific station, and you want to like put the same color text into the same color stations if you can. So let's say you want to increase the warp charge, decrease the warp charge time, you would stick, you know, 2 gold techs into main engineering or whatever, or you can put 3 techs into shields if you want. You would just have to switch back to the roster, and then let's say I want to switch one of the extra shield generator red technicians off the roster, then you can stick another gold tech into the roster, and then he's gonna pop in where he normally would at the start. They always start, you know, at their original position, and then you want to move that tech over to main engineering. So then you'll have, you know, max techs in main engineering, which will, you know, decrease the warp time, the charge time for that. So let's say you don't want techs in main engineering, you can take all of them out. But let's say you want to put technicians into computer core to take their place. Well, the technicians are going to start in scanners, and then you can go ahead and move them each to computer core to enhance your structural integrity or reduce hull damage, which is what I usually like to do. If you your shields run out, you can, you know, have all your technicians in computer core to protect your hull, which is great because you don't want to take any, you know, you don't want to take damage. So if you wanted to do that on the fly, you can kind of post them up into computer core because you can uncheck them and then put the other techs back in and use these techs however you like. What I usually do is max out shields and phasers. So I'll move them into shields and phasers, and then you don't obviously need this extra tech in main engineering, so you can take him off the roster and then put an extra tech in for you know, tactical, I guess. The red technicians here are good for,
we're on site,
you know, torpedoes and phasers and shields. So I want to say those are like tactical officers. But you end up with 2 techs and shields that are, the correct color, as it were. But I like to have one of the red techs and phasers. That way you got the maximum shields, but you still get the benefit of having, the efficiency, because you can see the efficiency of the techs. If it's the same color as the actual position, you get more efficiency, and you can see that in this little bar over here. You got the big red bar and the skinny gold bar there, because that's who's in this position now. But obviously, if you go over to here, you can see, you got a lot more efficiency. I could technically max this out with 3 red techs, but then your phaser control, won't have as much damage, increased fire rate, that sort of thing. So that's like the happy way that I like to do it anyway. But let's say your shields get damaged, you don't have any shields anymore. Since I already moved techs into computer core on the roster, let's just put max power. But this is how you move your power around, obviously. And charge coils. Gotta have max power to charge coils, obviously.
Coils charging.
And then you have your transporter bay, and there's nothing to transport right now, but it would pop up in this little menu here, and then you could lock and then energize kind of deal. But if you wanted to, like I was about to say before, let's say I wanted to get all my techs into computer core, since I already put all the blue technicians into computer core, and I want to keep at least 1 tech in shields and 1 tech in phasers. That way I don't lose my shield modulation or my precision phasers. I can take the extra technicians out, and you can see them, the efficiency obviously goes down because those technicians aren't there anymore. And you don't really need, since you want to get all 3 techs into computer core, you take that extra tech out of shields, and you still obviously remain with shields and phasers. That way you don't lose those 2, buffs or whatever for shields, as far as modulation and precision fire go. And then you can put all the blue techs in, and then you'll see that they'll just head right back to computer core. Since you already moved the techs around, they'll stay wherever you put them. So
We're in position.
Technically, if your shields are down, you'll start taking damage. Obviously, if you're getting attacked, then you got them guys in computer core to make sure you don't take any more damage. Now let's say your shields finally come back up. You don't need those techs in computer core anymore. You can just take them right back off the roster. Put your gold tech back in, or your red technician back in, your gold technicians back in, and then they'll go right back where they were before. So you just gotta wait, and then once they're on duty, you're, back to full shields and phasers kind of deal. Now, let's say you're like, oh, well, I don't want my techs in, shields and phasers anymore. You can take them off the roster, and then if you click on them, they'll technically go right back where they were, but if you double click, they'll reset to their original position. So let's say we did the same thing with these gold techs too. I don't want my techs in shields anymore, or phasers anymore. You can double click,
We're on site.
and they'll go back to thrusters again. So that's how you kind of like reset your active crew members to go back to their original positions. So we can do the same thing with the blue technicians, since they're all in computer core. Well, I don't want them in computer core anymore. You can double click and they'll go back to scanners. So that's kind of an easy way to move technicians back to their original positions. That is their, I want to say, their stock position or whatever. So that's kind of like the easiest way to explain everything. I guess the hardest part is just figuring out, which 5 techs you want on the roster, and, you know, where you want them to be. So this is usually the configuration, like I said at the start. This is like the default board positioning for the, you know, techs that when you first start every game, this is where the techs are going to be. So let's say I'm doing a Borg mission. What I usually want to do is, like I was saying before, have all technicians into shields and phasers, but I want to put all my blue techs into computer core as well. So that way, when I do lose my shields, my techs are already computer core, and I don't have to be worried about moving them from scanners into computer core. So what I normally do is take the red techs out, put the blue techs in, move my gold techs into shields and phasers, because I'm going to put them there anyway. And by the time I'm done doing that, everybody's in scanners here, and they can start moving them guys into computer core. So there they go, they're on their way. And you're still waiting for the phaser guy, because he takes forever, you know, to get over there. But once all these guys are like in position, they'll stay there. So once these guys are in computer core, I know that they're going to be ready for me when I need them. So I don't need them right now, because I'm, you know, got full power to shields, and the Borg's going to be coming, and I need to have them into shields and phasers. So I put the red techs back in, and they're going to go to their, you know, original station, because that's where they're going to start every time, no matter what. So if you want to move the techs into shields, you just got to click on the tech, move them. Same thing. Click on the tech, move them. So now I'm going to have the config that I like, which is all techs to shields and phasers. And it takes a while, but by that time you're going to be, you know, putting all your power into shields. You're going to hopefully get as close to the Borg as you can. Switch the power to phasers, that way you can phaser the Borg out. You know, Tactical's going to shut the Borg down. You know, and he'll be able to modulate the shields against the Borg, and you know, if you want to scan the Borg or whatever, you can do that too. I'm not trying to make this like a tactical tutorial as well, but in any case, again, let's say you're like, oh no, we lost our shields. So you're going to take the gold techs out, the extra red tech out, put all the blue techs back in, and boom, all the techs are going back into computer core, because you already put them in computer core. And then you're going to keep doing your deal, fight the Borg, make sure you got all power and shields. Once your shields come back online, you're like, okay, I don't need guys in computer core anymore, because we have shields. You put all your techs back where they were. And just make sure you pick the right one. And then you'll see them just slowly, basically getting back into position here. And that's pretty much it. The hardest part is just learning, you know, oh, if I want to move a tech, you just got to click on the tech and then tell them where to go. You know, click on the name of the position you want them to send them to, kind of deal. And it does take forever. And another suggestion I always try to give people is do not try to transport while you're moving technicians around, because there's a known issue. The game will glitch and it won't let you transport. Just try to transport only after all the techs are already in position, because when they're moving from one station to another, for some reason, like right now, do not transport when he's moving. You want to transport after he's, you know, already in position and everybody's in their specific station. So once he's there, then you would want to transport. That way you don't accidentally break the transporter, because that's a big problem that people have noticed. You can't transport sometimes, and then the only way to get the transporter to work again is for, you know, you to leave the game, and like someone else can take over, like the captain can tell the AI to do it. But other than that, you can rejoin the game and then it should let you transport. But other than that, it's pretty simple to move techs around. You just gotta remember you know, how to do it. Use the roster to switch techs out. If you want to double click, tech will go back to the original position. You don't have to wait for him to go to the other position first to move him. You just double click and he'll go back to the original position.
Nearby cloaked vessels via tachyon scan.
So that's pretty much it. You know, just put your techs where you want them.
We're on station.
But it's
Moving now.
pretty fun to learn how to just switch guys around, put them where you need them. But long story short, main engineering decreases warp charge. Shields is again for modulation. Astrophysics is to protect against anomalies. Computer core is for hull damage. Scanners helps you find cloaked ships. Phaser control is for precision fire. Sickbay is if one of your techs gets killed or is injured, I should say, you can send them to sickbay and they'll revive them. If they do get killed, there's no way to bring them back to life, which I have obviously seen that before, where one of your techs dies and then he'll basically be dead and you can't use him any longer, so you'll only have 2 red technicians instead of 3, and you'll have to, you know, replace him with another tech that is actually, you know, usable and isn't dead. But you got your transporter room, which will decrease the lock time if you have more techs in there. Torpedoes, you know, they'll load faster, and thrusters, you'll increase your engine speed kind of thing. So it's fun to play ops. I really like this position. I'm saying a lot, but the best way to do things is just remember the roster does not move techs unless you double click and make the tech go back to the original position. You can only move techs from the ship side of the operations panel here. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions or whatever, just leave a comment and you know, let me know if I missed something. But this is the, what did they word that as? It's the view anomaly effects panel, so you can see what the anomalies do. You got the manage operations crews. You can switch between systems. Like I said, send injured crews to sick bay. Each different station boosts the ship's abilities depending on which station it is. Crews repair damage also, because you can see the condition, you know, in main engineering that I have clicked, you can see where it says 100% over here in the corner. If you have a damaged system, that damaged system can be repaired. If you move technicians into that, you know, system, they'll do repairs to the system kind of deal. Whatever station you assign them to, they'll take care of it kind of thing. And obviously, you know, like it says, up to 3 crew members per station. But it's better to put the same color tech in the same color position, because again, it maxes that position out. So I can kind of, you know, show you more here. If you'd like to leave me a comment, I can answer any other questions you have. But I can move text around just by double clicking, like I said. But if I want to max shields out, you can kind of see now it's going to be, you know, the maximum efficiency with all the same color text, you know, kind of thing. So anyways, sounds like I got a appointment here I got to get to, so I'll leave it at that. And as always, live long and prosper, and you know, check out Star Trek Bridge Crew Red Squadron on Facebook, and join our crew if you'd like.